Okay, well, the next gentleman is someone who is a close personal friend. This guy, probably about 10 years ago, after he'd been a doctor most of his life, he decided one day, because one patient said to him, "Mario, why are you a doctor? Why don't you do something that touches more than one person at a time? Why don't you do something like you've done for me, inspired me to feel better, inspired me to see life a different way?" This guy left the medical field and started teaching and speaking. And today, he has over 7 books. One of them is called Reinvent Yourself, which is a bestseller, and is one of the most prominent inspirational speakers this country has ever produced. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Mario Alonso Puig.
Good afternoon. What an introduction, Paris. Thank you so much. Well, I will give you a talk for around 20 minutes, and later on we will have a great opportunity. I will have the chance of interviewing one of the greatest bullfighters in Spain, Francisco Rivera Ordóñez. We will have a nice conversation. We will see how we can translate what he knows from the field of bullfighting into the field of entrepreneurship. And as Paris said, I have always been very, very interested in how we human beings could be happier, how we could get rid of some of the pain, of some of the suffering that we unfortunately experience throughout our lives, and especially how we can connect humanism with biology. So when Sophia and Maria, and thank you so much for inviting me to be here in such an outstanding event, gave me this title, The Keys to Succeed, I felt very humble, because who am I to tell you what you have to do in order to succeed? But I think that, fortunately enough, I don't know where I have to point this. Okay. Fortunately enough, these are timeless principles. Like good books, they resist the passage of time. So what we're going to do is to review together some of these timeless principles so that we truly can learn. Okay, how we could improve our chances to be successful in life. First of all, is dare to be creative. Dare to be creative is easy to say, is very challenging to do for several reasons. Okay, first of all, we have to look at the masters of creativity, which are children. And children love to play and explore. Imagine that I ask, please have a look at your neighbor. Look at your neighbor. So Diego, look at Xavi. Okay, look at your neighbor. Let's imagine that I ask you to draw your neighbor. And you end up with something like this. I don't know. Okay. And then you show your neighbor your drawing, and you look at your neighbor's face and say, "I'm very sorry, I didn't want to offend you. I'm not an artist, so please forgive me." Well, when you do this exercise with children, they are very, very happy. They are very proud about their drawing, because they consider that drawing has to be something playful, something joyful. There are some statistics. I had a chance of meeting Sir Ken Robinson in different places. He is one of the most outstanding researchers in the field of creativity, and he shared with me some of his studies. You know, if you have children between 3 and 5 years old, 98%, when you give them a creativity test, 98% pass the test. But when they are between 8 and 10 years old, thank you, only 32% pass the test. Only 32%. And when they are between 13 and 15 years old, only 10% pass the test. Who among you is older than 15 years old. Okay, 2%. So we have to understand why. It doesn't mean that creativity is dead within us. It's dormant, and we need to awake it and unleash the true power that it has. We need to get rid of the fear of making mistakes. It's impossible to be creative if we are fearful about judgments, about the consequences of making mistakes. Lack of a playful approach. I had the chance of visiting Google. They invited me to Mountain View last summer. It was an incredible experience. And you could feel in that atmosphere that playfulness, that sense of joy. They know very well that when we create an atmosphere, a context of playfulness and joy, creativity just shows up because it's hidden within us. We know a lot of things about... Okay. We know a lot of things about creativity because we have fMRI, which allows us to see what's going on in the brain when we feel fear, when we are in panic, when we are worried about something. And we know as a fact, not as an opinion, that when we are kidnapped by fear, creativity cannot show up, no matter how much creativity we have inside us, within us. So it's important to remember that the fear of making mistakes and being judged blocks our creative potential. And we all have a responsibility to create atmospheres in which people have this sense of playfulness, that we can make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and get back on track. So how we interpret those mistakes is the essence. Your potential is much greater than your performance. That's essential, and all leaders know that. All leaders know that. Leaders address the potential, not the performance. Our eyes, our ears perceive the performance. Only our mind is able to sense, to feel the extraordinary, to feel the potential. And unless you feel that everybody around you has a hidden potential, you will not call that potential. So our true potential will not awake and fall and show how powerful it is. Your advantage is not in your possession, but in your disposition. This is a message for people who are not holding a, let's say, quote-unquote, important position at a certain company, or who are creating a project which is not well-known, that doesn't have a lot of prestige. Remember that. Your advantage is not in your possession, but in your attitude, in your disposition, in your willingness to take risk as your greatest chance, to learn from your failures, to keep going, to keep having faith in yourself, no matter what you are feeling and no matter what are the circumstances you are in. Second, be passionate about your project. Teresa Mobile, she is a great woman, a great scientist. She works at Harvard in Cambridge, Massachusetts. She is the person who has discovered the deep relationship between passion and creativity. You cannot be creative, at least as creative as you are called to be, if you are not passionate about something. Passion is enthusiasm, is the thrive, the eagerness to create something new, to keep learning, to keep growing, to keep improving yourself. We know now as a fact, not as an opinion, that creativity is a result of cooperation between the two sides of the brain. We have the left side of the brain, the left hemisphere, which is responsible for all the analytical process. When you go deep, trying to study, reflecting upon a certain problem, a certain challenge, you read books, you keep reading books, you keep thinking, you keep analyzing. But only if you are passionate, the information will go straight to the right side of the brain, the right hemisphere, which is the gate to the subconscious mind. The right side starts to work in a different fashion, which, you know, when we use electrodes, is alpha waves. And then suddenly, without expecting it, out of the blue, comes a burst of a special rhythm called the gamma rhythm, which comes from the right side of the brain, the right temporal lobe. And then you have your breakthrough, your eureka moment, your aha moment. Oh my God. All that work that you have been doing for a long time gave finally the reward, that burst of gamma waves, which shows you the possibility, the opportunity that's opening up in front of your eyes. See this video, it's a short video, and I will explain what it is about afterwards. Had a dream. He wanted to create joy, to spread playfulness around the world, and he didn't have any idea how he could do that. So he had a conversation with his girlfriend, and they decided, with the help of a musician, to create this melody and to go around the world dancing and filming his dancing. And of course, a lot of people look at him and say, oh my God, what a weird guy. Where's he coming from? But you know, time went by and people were waiting for him, like in Spain and other countries. Now he has more than 20 million followers. So don't be afraid of being crazy, because craziness can be a gate of something really outstanding, something amazing. You know, William Shakespeare, he was such a genius, such a wise man. He said, in life, like in theater, there are not small roles, only poor actors. Do not compare your role with somebody else. Try to be the best actor that you can be. Amazing. Have the courage to defy the odds and the commitment to keep going through. Confucius, the Chinese philosopher, said, it's much better to light a candle than to curse darkness. Don't waste time blaming darkness. Light a candle. Do something amazing. Winners never quit, quitters never win. That's a principle. To dream is free. When you start to transform your dream in a reality, you will have to be willing to pay the price. Winners never quit, quitters never win. Greatness is not defined by not failing. It is defined by not quitting. So, we're talking about stamina. We're talking about character. We're talking about guts. About standing up, even if you feel the pain, and keep walking with all your soul without losing your enthusiasm. I'm going to read it. If your life is ever going to change for the better, you will need to take chances. You will need to meet new people, explore new ideas, and move along unfamiliar pathways. Like these people.
Here's to the crazy ones.
The crazy ones.
The misfits. The rebels. The troublemakers. The round pegs in the square holes. The ones who see things differently. They're not fun.
When you get rid of excuses, you start to get results. It's so easy to bite the hook, to find excuses to justify why we cannot get results. But this is a mirage. It's something created by our egoic mind. Okay, excuse, I see you. But I decide, because I live by choices, not by emotions. I decide to get rid of all of you, all the excuses, all the justifications, all the reasons why I cannot succeed in life, and I choose to get results. And my focus goes to a completely different direction, and then I start to see new opportunities and possibilities. Your comfort zone, my comfort zone, our comfort zone, where the magic happens. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. We know that. We know that. If it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. When you go to the gym, in case that you go to the gym and you start to lift weights, you know that you reach a point when the stretching is painful and without breaking the muscles, because we are not talking about being insane, but when we keep lifting the last weight, then we really grow. Is it easy? No. But the reward is outstanding. Believe in yourself. Do not think about limitations. Think about possibilities. Everything has to do with how works our mind. It's our mindset which creates the world that we see, which creates the emotions that we perceive, which inspires us to reach a dream or to consider that that dream is too far from our reach. So work on your mind. Use your focus to look for possibilities, not for limitations, not for excuses, not for reasons, not for justifications. And your focus is your power. You were not born to be average. You know that. You know that. Look at me. You know that. You were not born to be average. You were born to be outstanding, but you got to believe in that. And it's not about other people telling you how great you are. It's about you telling yourself, I was born to be outstanding. Outstandingness is my destiny. I was not born to be average. Learn to cooperate. Look how beautiful this cooperation. Finish with that. You will never know how high you can fly until you open your wings. Thank you so much.
Just a few words.
Now, as I told you before, I had a great opportunity. I have the opportunity to interview one of the greatest bullfighters. He is not only a great bullfighter, he's an outstanding human being. Somebody who is close, somebody who is respectful, tender, and at the same time extremely brave, extremely courageous. So please, let's welcome Cayetano Rivera Ordóñez.
Gracias. Gracias. Buenas tardes. ¿Aquí? Buenas tardes. Good afternoon.
We were having a nice debate about the language that we would use in this conversation. Cayetano speaks very well English, and at the same time, you know, bullfighting is such a Spanish tradition, so probably we will combine both things, because I understand that at some moment, Cayetano, with all his passion, with all his enthusiasm, some moment might express something in Spanish, or I might express admiration in Spanish too. So please, people who are not from this country, but who are nevertheless so dear to all of us, please forgive us if at a certain moment we go out of our passion to Spanish. So, Cayetano, you have a great experience as a bullfighter, and when we go to see a bullfight, we are always very much impressed about the courage. At the same time, I think there's a combination of passion, enthusiasm. You know, this is the most important entrepreneur congress in Spain, and one of the most important in the world. Could you please give us a kind of connection, a kind of relationship between bullfighting and entrepreneurship, so that people can really benefit from your huge experience as a great bullfighter?
Well, I find the bullfighter actually like I see him like a great entrepreneur because we don't only dedicate all our time like entrepreneurs do, and we risk our money as well.
Yes.
And we find for our better partners, but we also risk our life doing it. We dream with that day of glory in a place like we're standing here today, and we risk everything for it. And I find that very similar to the entrepreneur of today, no?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. You know, we have in Spanish different expressions like take the bull by the horns, go to the arena, like, you know, have the courage to breathe and step in. When you have to face a bull, 500, 600, 700 kilograms, and of course you have to deal with your fear. What's the role of passion, enthusiasm in your life? Because I think it can be of great benefit to a lot of people who are, you know, facing fears at the time of starting a new company or a new project.
Well, I think dealing with fear is one of our greatest tasks, our greatest tests. And like entrepreneurs, we have to make decisions that they're going to have consequences. I think entrepreneurs have to have a specific character to be able to have the capacity to overcome that fear.
Yes.
And to have the capacity to make decisions with knowledge, not only reaction. In my profession, I have had the experience to deal with fear many times, many years, and I have learned to try to keep my head cold, although my heart is warm. No? So I think that's very similar. We don't only, like I was saying before, we have to make decisions in which our life is at risk, and in that case it's different from the entrepreneur, but the entrepreneur has to be making decisions as well that are very important to them. They're dealing with many different difficulties. They're beginning a new business, it's a new adventure, and it has many, many different decisions they have to make. And in that way, I think as bullfighter have learned by experience the capacity to overcome that fear and to face it and to make decisions in the proper way, although you can always make mistakes, of course.
Cayetano, when you had been wounded several times, do you have any special resource, you know, after you go to the hospital, you recover, and you return to your profession? Do you have any special resource that you get in touch to at the time of overcoming your fear? Is your passion that you bring it in your heart, or what it is?
Well, when I have been injured and when we are injured, it's more difficult to recover from it mentally than physically.
Okay.
You have like a broken bone, or you have been gored on your leg or whatever, and you take certain time. Nature is going to, you know, give you after a certain time you're going to recover and you're going to feel better. But in order to overcome the fear of facing that danger again, you have to have a great passion.
Okay.
You have to have a lot of faith,
Okay.
a lot of hope, a lot of enthusiasm, which is going to keep you going when you get to those moments when everything else is telling you don't. No, you need that. You need that passion. You need that courage to overcome that fear and have faith again in you and what you want to be, where you want to go.
Yeah, I remember a poem, a Sufi poem, which says, fear, knock on the door. Confidence, open up. There was nobody there. So you were sending a very powerful message that you recover by getting in touch with your passion, your enthusiasm, and little by little the fear vanishes.
And more than that, sometimes when you have been injured, it could be considered as a failure because it's actually not what you're there for, no? But I find it more important, not the fact that you fail, but how you stand up and how you face that fear again, and how do you recover? And you stand up for that in what you believe and that dreams that you have. So here in Spain, we're very afraid of failure. We don't see it very well, but I think it's very important, like you were saying before, to learn from it and to take that advantage, take that lesson, and to stand up again and become stronger, become wiser, and also have more patience.
Okay. I don't know if we are aware of the power of Cayetano's message, because you are speaking from somebody who is really very much in touch with reality and with a very challenging reality. And you are one of the greatest bullfighters in the world.
Thank you.
And nevertheless, you accept that when you are wounded, when you are injured by the bull, the key is not that. The key is what happens after that, how you relate with quote-unquote failure.
Absolutely. We have to be prepared, and we assimilate that. Eventually, it will happen. I mean, it's very difficult in a very long career, bullfighting or in business, that everything is pretty and everything goes well. You're going to have the down days. You're going to, in our case, you're going to be injured. And the most important thing is how do you face that when it happens. No? So it's not a matter of not happening. It's not a matter of not failures. It's a matter of, well,
somebody fell down. Let's see if she's okay.
It's a little bit dark here, yeah.
It's a young woman. Okay.
It's a matter of how do you stand up afterwards and try to recover again that passion, that enthusiasm, that excitement, that hope, that faith in you. And that's very important. It's important in bullfighting, and I think it's one of the key facts for entrepreneurs. Okay. They have to be willing to overcome that fear when it comes, because it's most probably eventually it will come, and you have to be prepared for it.
Okay, thank you. When I introduce you to the audience, I explained that you are not only an outstanding bullfighter, but you also are a great human being. And the more I know you, the more certain I am about that. Please tell us something about a project which is very dear to you, which is called Yo Niño.
Well, Yo Niño is my foundation. I started up a couple of years ago. It's in order for kids to help them study and become what they wish to be through the studies. And well, we try to have projects worldwide. We did that one in Nicaragua. We're doing one this year here in Spain, and it's absolutely the project that I feel most proud of and the one that gives me most satisfactions.
Yeah, it's a great contribution. Thank you so much for that. And I heard that you have completed an 80 days trip around the world. Is that true?
Yes, it is true.
Tell us something about that.
Well, it was our last project for the foundation. The idea was to use that trip in order we have been posting it weekly to tell them about what was going on. And I had a chance to also visit many different foundations around the world and see many different kids and find them with all the difficulties they have. And you know, they all had something in common, and is that they seem not to be aware of the difficulties they have. We see them more clearly, no? And they're so happy with so little that it's like a great lesson to give, no? And well, the idea was to conscience people about the need of people helping others, and to conscious people that there are other people also as well that are doing it. There are many people around the world that live with very little and dedicate themselves to help kids or grown old men or people in general, no? And that's, I think, especially in these moments that we're facing here in Spain with the economic crisis we have and all, it's very important to have those people, to have that in mind, that we need to help, even if it's very little, no? It's as much as you can do.
Okay. You know, you are acknowledged as a great bullfighter. I would like to acknowledge you as a great leader. Why? Because, you know, I've been studying leadership for many years, and when I see a leader, I see somebody who is making things happen and who really is contributing to create a better world. So you are doing that. You are not only one of the greatest bullfighters, you are also a great leader. Please join me for a big applause to our dear friend.
Thank you.
Do you have, Cayetano, any last message for the entrepreneurs? Anything that you would like to, as a short message for them?
Well, as I was saying before, I've heard many different advices to entrepreneurs that are beginning, like about be careful, take your time, find the money, no, and the team you work with. But I think it's very important that we realize that failure is not something that bad. I mean, it's something you have to be prepared for. If you think everything is going to be well, you're probably wrong. And you must be very lucky if it doesn't.
Yes.
But my message would be to not worry, not so much to not failing, but if you do, focus on how you're going to stand up again.
Okay.
Focus on how you're going to face that.
Okay.
And fear is free. You can get as much as you
Everywhere.
want.
Yes.
You know, it's a matter of dedicating time to it and finding your own way to manage it, to control it, to have the capacity enough to make decisions, the right decisions, and to start again. I think that's the most important thing.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
De siempre.
There you go.
Magnífico.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.